Welcome back. So, if you watch my video, can we save this LC2? It was a machine that was sent to me for free, basically, with the cost of shipping, by a gentleman who we're going to just call Old World Tech. And Old World Tech is just a fellow YouTuber, and he thought I might be interested in trying to save that machine. And he was certain that I could save it. And I want to point out a couple of things that I probably wasn't clear enough on in that video. All right. So the LC2 that he sent me, sure, it could be fixed. If you were to strip out the rotted shielding, you could potentially reuse the case. But the case was missing a clip. It just snapped off. And it was badly yellowed. Now, you could un-yellow the case, as I have done many times before, using the retro-bright methods that have been well documented, and they do work. But now you've got a case without shielding, and you've got missing clips, which, I mean, not the end of the world, but I have such little space in my house that I wouldn't personally want it in my collection in that condition. But that's just me. So I only have enough space to save the finest of the finest machines. That's why all I really acquire are high quality, examples of vintage tech, because I don't have the space or the energy or the patience for, major restorations like that. I kind of wanted to save it, just for the fun of it. So I dug into it a little bit further, and, the motherboard could have been saved. You would have to salvage from another board a few components, like the connectors in the rear. They were pretty badly rusted. But the thing is, I wouldn't need to salvage that board, because I actually have two good boards here. I actually have right here. They're not stored in a very effective manner. So I've got a good floppy drive here. That is a tested working floppy. I have a power supply that just needs some caps. And this would be the power supply that I was going to use. But I've got two boards, and they both work. Actually, I've recapped one of these, or both. I think I recapped both of them, actually. But they're good boards. And I could have gotten that machine running. I even have a fan. So, I mean, I have everything I need here to restore that machine. But, like the 150-year-old hammer, you've never heard that one? I'll tell you. So this hammer here, it actually came, it's 150 years old. And my great-great-great-grandfather built his first house with this hammer. And it's amazing how it survived all these years. He's had to the head over the years has been replaced at least 2 or 3 times. The handle's been replaced at least 5 or 6 times. So the question is this the hammer that my great-great-great-grandfather used to build his old house with? That's the dilemma. Now, I made that story up, but it's a realistic example of, yes, you can restore that machine, bring it back to life again, but, I mean, the only component you could theoretically just use without any serious surgery is the case. And in my case, in my situation, I actually have all good parts to put into it, but Oreo's inspecting our next project. But again, at that point, it's like this 150-year-old hammer, which I actually bought at Lowe's in 2012. Made for a great story, though. So, I guess I had to explain myself a little better in that video. While the machine could have been saved, I just didn't feel it. I wasn't feeling it. LC2s and LC3s are hardly rare right now. You can get them, you know, you can readily get one if you really want one. They're mostly in the hands of collectors now, but there are still some out there that are just sitting around. Now, I'm going to read you the email that Old World Tech sent me after I posted that video. So, here's the email. I just watched the video, and I'm terribly sorry if I misled you on the condition. It would appear that the 8-bit guy has tainted my he wrote tainted, but has tainted my definition of what is salvageable. It was definitely I was definitely hoping the motherboard would be savable, and it was. I pointed that out. If you were to clean it in an ultrasonic bath a couple of times to get all anything loose out of there, maybe some kind of anti-corrosive additive, maybe, if there is such a thing, you could then clean the board and get it to a point where it could be tested. You would definitely want the schematics for the board. That way you have some idea of, you know, what voltages should be where. And anyways, anything's fixable. That board was fixable. Believe it or not, they're actually quite resilient to harsh conditions, as long as nobody powered it up while it was in the condition it was in. Here we go. Continuing. I didn't notice the cap failure you pointed out. Yeah, it was. Those caps were definitely leaking. I thought that was actually a piece of insulation in the fan, actually. I detailed where it came from in my comment on the video. You weren't far off. Cairo, Illinois has rivers on both sides, and it is the lowest point in Illinois. It is noted for its extreme dampness and tendency to flood. These are part of why the town is quickly nearing ghost town status. It has very literally more abandoned buildings than occupied ones. The city lacks the funds to do demolitions, so they just let nature do the work. So the snail shells that I found in the machine could have very well been the result of a flood. I didn't even see that I didn't notice that until just now, the flooding part. But, so, yeah, that machine was probably in a flood. That is self-evident at this point. So I just want to say to Old World Tech, no hard feelings. I was not expecting... I didn't know what to expect. That's why I paid you the $30 for shipping, and I was more than happy to do so. And it made for an interesting video, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad we did this deal. So... moving on, he did send me this PowerBook G4 in that box, and we briefly took a glance at it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this G4. I may offer it up for free, just pay me shipping, and you can have it kind of thing. I haven't decided yet. But if you're interested in owning a G4, here's your chance. Let me know if you're interested, and we'll work something out. Now, because I already own a G4 that is in museum quality condition, I think that's what's in this bag. Yeah, here we go. This is what one should look like. I just don't have a need for that in my house right now because I've already got one. Let's take a look at that for a second. And then we're going to try to power up that G4. I've got a power supply right here. He didn't send me a power supply for it, so if I do end up giving up that G4, he won't be getting a power supply. I'm sorry. That's just how the cookie crumbles. I might actually have one. This has got smudges on it. Anyway, this G4 I've owned for a while, but this thing is absolutely pristine. And that's the only reason I still have it. It has really no wear and tear whatsoever. It is as new as they come. I think the battery actually holds a charge on this thing. This is the machine that I was running over Halloween. The battery's dead. I used this laptop in my garage, hooked up to that massive projector, and it played for several hours. Nosferatu. I made a makeshift screen where my garage door is, so if you were facing the house, it looked like a giant television. And So that's what I used that for just a little while ago. So I know it works. Now, this one, hey bud, can I have my chair back? You talking to me? Turn this light off. Makes his eyes glow in a weird way. Oreo, hey buddy. Hey. Hi, you're cute. Can you move? I'm trying to captivate an audience here. But you're doing a better job of it, so. Alright, let's see what this thing does. Now, the story behind this laptop, and he wanted me to share these stories because he felt that the machines deserved a backstory, and, well, I figure, why not? So, get a green light here. Start it on. Let's see what we got. Charge lights on. So far, nothing. Still nothing. Let me put the camera on the tripod so I can do some troubleshooting. Okay, here we go. Nothing so far. This thing's not in bad shape. In fact, let me grab a clean cloth and we'll clean it up a bit. So, when cleaning aluminum and titanium Apple products, this is definitely an aluminum G4. The titanium ones are far more distinctive. And I actually had one a while ago and I sold it. I forget who I sold it to. So what I do is I use window cleaner. Windex. Really, Windex actually works better. And it gives the aluminum a bit of a shine. There are additives in the Windex that kind of act as kind of a polishing agent, if you will. I don't know what's in it, but it works. It really works. So this thing now just looks like $1 million. And if we clean that screen, let's get a good shot of that screen. See if that looks any better. So what I like about this one, subjectively or objectively, is that it actually has no obvious markings. So one of the biggest problems with these machines of this generation is that they would develop marks, wear marks, on the polarizer because of the proximity to the keycaps. And this one, wow, that screen's beautiful actually. And it doesn't have any marks or scratches of any kind yet. So this one's actually, this is a nice little machine. Of course, we haven't seen it run yet. I don't recall whether he said it ran or not. I think he said it did. But I'm not getting any juice out of it. Sometimes if the battery is completely dead, the machine won't power up. So I'm going to pull the battery out. And we're going to get a dry microfiber and we'll buff the screen with it. Still got a few screeches. A few streaks on it, but it'll clean up. It's all right. Okay, let's pop the battery out. Let's see. Look at this lid. Now this is a good example. Now this lid is pretty nasty looking, so we're gonna take some Windex. I'm gonna spray it directly on. Okay, and we're gonna just. I seriously should get a contract with SC Johnson Wax because I use their products for everything. Absolutely everything. So we got a little bit of scratching on the lid. That's typical. That is typical. But I've seen far worse. Buff it. Look at that. Got a little bit of little mark there, little mark there. So what's happened here is the this is it's either anodized or electroplated. I think it's electroplated, to be honest. There's a bit of a crease there. Nope, that's not a crease. That's just a mark. Let's go to the bottom here. Battery's getting power. Memory door has been off. I've got a couple of screws missing. Here and here. I may even have some of these screws at work. From back when we actually had these on the job. So I've serviced many of these G4s. I think I might have even done a motherboard on one under warranty. I'm pretty sure I've done at least one board under warranty, and even maybe some without. Those would have been pricey repairs too. I've been an Apple technician since 2007, so that should tell you, give you an idea as to the broad range of devices that I've done warranty work on. But I never liked these machines. This generation, I hated them because they were unreliable. They had a lot of problems. It seems like the best Apple products are the least expensive ones. It's one thing I've learned. The iMacs, for example, they're generally bulletproof. They really are. The iMacs have had very few issues warranty-wise. I've had a few drive failures, but nothing more than that. Oh, with the exception of the polycarbonate models. The early Intels, the first gen Intels, and the G5s have been known for LCD failures with age. I would say excessive, like beyond industry norms. All right, let's pop this battery out and see what's going on. Like I said, sometimes the batteries, they build up an internal resistance that's so high that it prevents the machine from booting. Like, it basically shorts out the power source. Yeah, see how it's the battery. Let's take it out. While the battery's out, let's take a look at what we got for specs. Alright, so we've got a 1.67, 512 megs, 80 gig hard drive, super drive, Bluetooth, backlit keyboard. The backlit keyboard was an option. Not everybody knows that. The backlit keyboards in 2000, this was probably made in about 2003, maybe 2004. And at that generation, the backlighting was an upgrade. It was a luxury. And that was also when you could really customize your MacBook Pro. I mean, you could, if you didn't want a super drive, you could often get them without. You could save a few bucks, put a CD-ROM drive in there. They had a lot of options. Backlight, yes or no. You could really make it yours. Nowadays, it's good, better, best. That's it. Here we go. Oh, try that again. Still nothing. Still nothing. So the battery wasn't the issue. There's something else wrong with this machine. Now the question is, how far into the weeds do I want to go? Let me compare it to the one I've already got here. Just see spec-wise if it's the same machine or not. I'm going to guess that it's very similar. Let's take the battery out of mine. Well, the one I'm not getting rid of. Here we go. What do we got? It is a 1.5, 512 meg, 80 gig super drive, Bluetooth backlit keyboard. So this one is a 1.67. That does not mean it's any newer though. I have to double check and see. It could be a different model revision. Really hard to say at this point. Okay. One thing I can tell you is that it's more than likely not a memory problem. But these did have a lot of logic board failures. I'm going to look up, there were some known problems with these. I'm going to go look that up right now and see where it falls in that bracket. So give me a minute. Well, these machines are no stranger to logic board failures, specifically the 1.5 and 1.67 gigahertz models. Issues relating to power mode issues, like being, well, in their words, narcolepsy, where they don't wake up. Issues regarding white spots on the LCD panels. I've seen that myself in many of these. Overheating due to heat sensor failures. Ambient light sensor failures. The 1.67 gigahertz, according to the wiki article, may suffer from manufacturing or design defects in its display. So the 1.67 is the last iteration of the G4 PowerBook, as I just realized, and that was the penultimate swan song of G4 based laptops for the Apple Mac product line. That made no sense. What I just said was a just random alphabet soup of words, and I'm sorry. There were recalls due to short-circuiting, which on May 20th, 05, Apple recalled 12-inch iBook G4 and 12 and 15-inch PowerBook G4 batteries. Okay, yeah, I knew about that. I remember that one. For a while, you couldn't board an airplane with one of these because of that recall. So it looks like what we have here is a machine that will likely need a logic board replacement. Without really deep diving into diagnosing it, I don't really have any known good parts that I'm willing to throw in at it. But that is a known good power supply for sure, and we've eliminated the battery as a culprit. But I'm not getting any signs of life out of this guy. Let's see. Which I was a little surprised. I thought this was a working machine that he sent. But then again, it has sat on my porch for about a week or two while I awaited its fate. Somebody's been in this memory slot door. Let's see what's going on with that. Removing the keyboards on these models is kind of a bitch. Excuse my language. These also had an issue with the lower memory slot going bad. I'm not sure if the 1.67 was... Yeah, it's got a 512 meg module in it, which is nice and salvageable. Let's try to get the keyboard off. If I recall, all you got to do is pull out these screws here. This would make a great parts machine for someone. Seriously, if you're in need of one of these, I'll probably hang on to this machine until the end of February of 2021. So if you're watching this video after February of 2021, it's gone, baby. Don't even bother. Before February, the last day of February, I'm going to get rid of it on March 1st. Let's just leave it at that. March 1st. So if you're watching this video on March 2nd of 2021 or later, it's gone. I'm not holding on to it. Now, I don't remember if... I think the upper screws in the back have to come out. I think it's the top ones, not the bottom ones. I haven't worked on one of these in a long time. It's been a while. So let's see if I can do this again. I don't even think I've had mine apart yet. I stopped working on these a million years ago. Oh yeah, you got to take these screws out too. I don't know if I have one that will fit that right here. No, I don't. Is that my smallest hex? Yeah. Gotta grab my fancy tools. Alright. Let's get into it. If I sound very unenthused right now, it's because I am. I just don't want to be working on one. I was happy when we got rid of our last G4 PowerBook because they were just so problematic. I mean, of course, that article I just read on the wiki article on these, it kind of brought back some bad memories. So where I work, all of our admins got PowerBook G4s. Teachers didn't have laptops then. The admins did. Did I miss a screw? Yes, I did. Oh, yes. Yes. There are screws right here. Apple. They use like 5 different screwdrivers on one machine. Only Apple can get away with that, really. I mean, only Apple can get away with that. Let's use as many different screw bits and drivers as we can. Let's use what those weren't Torx. Those are hex head screws because we can. Because it looks better. Oh, you know what? Oh, it's been a long time, guys. I am so sorry. There are screws on the side too. I'm sorry. Haven't touched one of these in so long. This is just like a bad dream. The last one I had apart was probably over 10 years ago, to be honest. I'm serious. It's been that long. Maybe not. I think I had one a little bit ago. I had one of these in here. It was probably, it's probably mine, and I think I put a bigger hard drive in it. That's what I did. But yeah. Oh, this one's got a strip screw. Now, because Apple insists on using aluminum screws, because they suck, it doesn't take much to strip them out. In fact, merely looking at them wrong and saying a mean comment about their mother is enough to do it. There we go. Got it. Let's take a look. One thing that if you're excuse me, if you are familiar with Apple's modern stuff, the latest, anything made in the unibody era and newer, you're going to be shocked at how hideous these are inside. So the unibody era Macs brought grace and style to the internals of all Apple products. And I have to say, as much as I have mixed feelings about Apple as a company and their products, but whenever I work on a modern day unibody Mac, I just gush at how beautiful they are inside. Quickly brushing aside the very reason I'm looking at the inside of one. But these old ones, ooh, we're talking some Toshiba, Lenovo level shit. Let me tell you. Now these had to be snapped off. You had to, there we go, just like that. And you gotta be careful because this cable wants to bite you. And then it comes undone. Alright, let's take a look inside here. Now, alright. It doesn't smell burnt. Actually looks pretty clean. Let's take a look. Alright, so right here we've got our optical drive. Now this doesn't look good. Oh no. That's water. There's water in this thing. And it's been there a while. Look at this. It looks like this rust. Oh shit. I believe that migrated its way from the LC2 in shipment. A little bit of rust in there. That's not a good thing. A little bit of water too. Let's take a look under the keyboard here. Yeah, this thing's got wet. And this is not from me cleaning it either. This has had some water intrusion for sure. Doesn't look like a lot though, but there was definitely water coming in. Again, that's not window cleaner. That's water. Not sure how that got there. It's dry now. And there's little rust particles down in here. This is from shipment, because this was shipped with the LC2 and that box was bounced around. So those little rust flakes found their way into this machine. There's one right there. Oh, wait, I didn't see those. The speaker magnet picked them up too. And we got some little bits of stuff here. So I'm afraid that this machine might have been killed, to believe it or not, killed by shipping. Let me recheck that email. Oh man, I should have read this email first. So this is the description on this. I should have read this. I'm sorry. It's a 17-inch G4. As I thought it was a 15 for some reason. I guess I'm losing my ability to judge sizes and screens. Whatever. Anyway. It says one MacBook G4 17-inch. I forget the exact model, but I remember it was top of the line for its generation. GeForce FX graphics and the high-res display option. It powers up, but for some reason any amount of movement or weight on the palm rest and it locks up. You can't even use the mouse pad without triggering it. I never could get it all the way through the OS X installer. It's probably been reassembled incorrectly by the previous owner. The previous owner, by the way, was a Chicago police officer. And it wound up in the possession of the Chicago Police Department itself. So he's blaming the Chicago PD's IT department for some of its issues. Missing screws, for example. And I know why they couldn't. It says they couldn't get the top off. They couldn't figure out how to separate the housing. And that's because of those hidden screws under the memory board, I imagine. Those have to come out. And these two top screws. These are the two screws that I think a lot of people miss. So that's the deal with this. So he says it powered up, but it had problems. So I believe the reason it wouldn't turn on could be one of two things. Either the problem is that it had a little bit of rust particles, which are conductive, iron oxide, landed right there, causing it to short out, or this keyboard plug was unplugged. So I'm going to plug this back in. I'm going to hit the power switch. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even smoke. But it is passing current to the battery. We did confirm that. Let's check for any loose cables. Those seem to be good and tight. That's in all the way. So this laptop, if this is the original hard drive, it was manufactured in 2002, but I don't believe that for a second. Let's take a look at the CD drive. These are the only components that ever have production dates on them. And date of manufacture. Usually printed somewhere on this label, but I'm not seeing it. Look at all that rust. Usually there's a date of manufacture on this label, but there isn't on this one. Let's check under the keyboard. Let's see if there's a date there. Sometimes you get lucky. But he said that the trackpad would cause it to lock up if depressed, and I'm wondering if... Yeah, that's a shame. There's a lot of rust in there. That's not a good thing. And this is the correct power supply. So okay, so according to Yeah, that hard drive may not be original. It was made in 2002, but it is oh yeah, it's a 40 gig drive. So this drive's been replaced at some point. That much we know, because this machine was made in about 06. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's much more. Maybe 05 actually, 05, 06. So here's what we know. This machine's been infected with rust, although no obvious burntness. Let's try something. Alright, let's see if we can, I mean, it's already been plugged in, so anything that's burnt up is burnt up. You know, it's entirely possible that this machine was marginal before it was sent to me, and we just kind of finished it off. I mean, that's highly likely. These were fragile anyway. They had a lot of problems, like I said. I never power button. No, here it is. There's little power pads. Power PMU reset. Let's take a look at this. I remember reading this on the manual, the service guide, which I can no longer get from Apple. But if you look, there are power on pads. So this is it. Let's say the keyboard's bad. You want to find your power management PMU reset. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. PMU reset. That's these two pads here. Power management reset. I don't remember what it says. SYS. Power button. That's these two pads. So if you, let's say you're doing some troubleshooting on these. Earlier, even the new ones have this, by the way. I was working on a what model was it? It was a MacBook Air. I think it was an M1 that I had it apart just recently, and I believe I saw the power pads on there. I was surprised to see that actually, because Apple tries to make things difficult usually. All right, let's try it without the keyboard. So, power button. I heard something. No. So the keyboard's not the problem. I'm sorry to say it, guys, but I'm not going to go any further with this thing. If this is a machine you want because you can use it for parts, I'm just going to say you can have it. Just drop me a comment. We'll get in touch, and we'll figure out a way to get this to you. I'll put it in a box. You pay the shipping. Continental U.S. only. Lower 48 states. I'm not going to send this anywhere else. And if it doesn't sell, if nobody wants it, then it's going to be recycled. It's unfortunate that I think what happened here is some rust flakes got in there and just finished it off. That's all I can think of. Just to confirm, what am I using for a power supply here? You know something? That's not the right one. That's not the right one. That's a 45 watt. There should be a bigger one in there. Hold on. Well, we're going to try this one. It's probably the same output, but we're going to try it anyway. I can't find, I'm pretty sure that those use a higher wattage, like 60 or 85 watts to power up. This one doesn't even have this is a generic one that I'm trying right now, and it's worth a shot. But even without a battery, even a 45 watt should start it. especially without a battery. Oh my God. Look at that. So all that theorizing. We was wrong. Oh crap. Okay, this thing's got problems. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that. This thing's got issues, man. Big problems. It's booting though. I hear the hard drives kicking around there. Yeah, this thing is done for, man. It's got video chip problems, it looks like, or possibly a bad display. That's too bad. I'm not really sure though. In a case like this, I would often just try either an external display, and I don't think I have the correct adapter. I see a login box. Yeah, this thing is got problems. Twisting the board will sometimes isolate the issue. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. March 1st, it's going in the recycling bin. I will salvage the hard drive out of it, but that looks like to be, the hard drive sounds healthy. It's a genuine Apple 40 gig drive, and I will save that. I might even save the optical drive out of it because they're used in a lot of different models that I might even have. So, as it warms up, it might actually self-cure. I think it's a screen problem, not a logic board problem. So that screen, yeah, that's probably for the dogs. Screen cable's tight. Let me reseat it a little bit here. See if that does anything. No, that's not the screen cable. Not at this point. But as it warms up, it may come to life. Ain't that a shame? I got it running. So, I guess all my theories of being power supply being the problem, I guess that was full of shit. Wait. So I guess all this time the power supply was the problem, but it has more problems. The problems seem to never stop here. But he didn't report it as having a screen problem. Did I read that email incorrectly? A lot of this could have happened in shipping, you know, so that's not entirely out of the question. But I do know that these definitely had some problems from the day they were conceived. Yeah, they had a lot of issues. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to put it back together again. If somebody else wants to tackle this project, maybe try to restore it, or use it for parts, which is what I would do. You know, if you have a bad case, you know, or a good screen. I think the screen's bad, but I can only confirm this if I plug it into a monitor. I don't have the adapter handy, so I'm not going to waste my time on that. But again, after March 1st, she's going in the recycling bin, and that drive will be saved. I like my spinning hard drives on these older machines, as you all know. Don't know how the water got in there. Doesn't make any sense to me. But I've seen stranger things. Alright. So we're going to plug the keyboard back in. But yeah, just notice how sloppy. So this is something that Apple's changed over the years with their OEM builders like Foxconn and their new unibody, and really streamlined process. But notice the use of Kapton tape, like a common Lenovo. Apple's once were loaded with Kapton tape. It was used on every connection. It doesn't really do anything. It just makes it look crappy. And they used it everywhere. This, by the way, is a CMOS battery. I've never seen one that looked quite like this, but this is where it goes. And these are usually failed after about 6 years or so. Definitely a bad CMOS battery, needs to be replaced. Definitely not the reason we're having all these problems, though. There's probably, it's possible that there could be a little bit of rust underneath the main board. I see a little fragment underneath the display cable. So this might be an easy project for somebody. But I don't need to make any money on it. I didn't pay anything for it, so I'm not looking to get rich here. I'd like to see it go to a good home. I'd like to see it get saved. Or used for parts. That's what I'm thinking. I'll just put it back together. At least I can say that I'm actually, believe it or not, certified. I was certified on this model, so not that I remember any of what I learned from the training materials, but I was a certified tech. Probably the first certified tech to ever touch this machine. Not that that matters, because Louis Rossmann is not Apple certified yet. He manages to fix machines that they don't want fixed. That they would rather see get scrapped. Because profits, baby. But no. I dreaded these machines because it was always a motherboard. It was always something major. It really was. They were just... The fact that I have a good running example of one is nothing but a feat of magnitudes. Really, I mean, the fact that I have one in my collection that actually runs correctly is just amazing to me. So, but when they were new, though, when they were the newest thing on the market, they were in TV shows, they were in movies. I mean, these were, when they needed a laptop for some, hotshot executive for a TV show or a movie, this is what they bought, or this is what Apple sent them. I'm even going to leave the RAM in there. I don't need the RAM. But this is what Apple would send to the production houses. This is the machine they wanted to make famous. It just looked good on screen. It was high-tech looking. It was sleek. It was, it was what it was. And this was, by the way, this generation was Apple's very first foray into aluminum-bodied laptops. And it set the tone for Apple's industrial design for years to come. In fact, it continues to be an influence. I mean, even today's models are influenced by what these machines spawned. If I put the right screws there, I hope I did. Because it's easy to put the wrong screws in. You get long screw damage. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say yes. I have caused long screw damage on machines. I'm not too proud. I've made mistakes. Boy, have I made mistakes. Oh yeah. These only go... I forget where these go. There's one of these that's super long, and it goes like right there in the middle. Oh yeah, that's right. I think I was missing some of those screws. Yeah. This guy... Oh wait. Did I seriously just do that? Did I put a finish screw? Yes, I did. Stupid me. Ah! I am such a dumbass. See, and I just want to prove that there's a point. There's a point to be made here. I actually am qualified to work on this machine on paper. And I just did that. In my defense, it is 11:30 at night, and I've been up since 6 in the morning. So, anyways, put these screws back. There was one screw missing from there. I am missing the screws that go here, though. Did the cat run up on that desk while I wasn't looking and got them off the desk, or is it just me? I think it's just me. Alright. So this could be one of yours, one of my loyal viewers. If you give me a shout, send me a comment, we'll get in touch. I'll give you my email address or whatever. We'll figure something out. And we can give this a new home. My diagnosis, without doing any further testing, like I said, I'm thinking faulty LCD. I actually, I think I actually have the adapter here somewhere in an easy to reach location. Where the hell did I put it? I used it just the other day with my good G4, and I don't have a monitor handy. That's part of the problem. I don't have a high res monitor. Hear that? That crunching sound? That's rust. It's a shame that some of the rust from that freaking LC2 got into this thing and did that much. It definitely caused some damage. I'm just not so sure how extensive that is. And I'm not really looking to tear it apart either. So, and it's all the screws I got. So I'm missing a couple. The Chicago Police Department is to blame. Thank you, Chicago. I bet it was Carl Winslow. I bet it was Carl Winslow himself. That son of a... Alright. For shits and giggles, let's just fire it back up and see what it does. Okay. Well, it does boot. It's trying to boot up. CD access works. It's got Lyme's disease. Yeah, that's a shame. You see it. Yeah. Lyme's disease. Well, again, Old World Tech, I thank you for the opportunity to work on this. I am not even remotely upset with this transaction. I mean, this is about what I expected. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, and that's just how it is. So I just want to make sure that you and I are cool. If I had paid you $100 or something, or a couple $100 for a machine that I was planning on, actually, like let's say you offered to sell me the machine that I'm actually looking for, which is a Toshiba T3200SX in operational condition, and you sent it to me, and it had cracked plastics, it didn't boot up 80% of the time, and a hard drive made grinding sounds, but yet you told me that it didn't have any of those problems at all. We might have a problem. Funny story. So I've been buying and selling a few things on the Facebook marketplace groups. There's a couple of them out there. You might find me on one of them. I've been doing a little bit of buying and selling, a little horse trading, as they say. And I bought what I was led to believe was an IBM ThinkPad 1400i, which is it was made by Acer, actually, as a contract deal for IBM. So it's kind of the black sheep of the ThinkPad line. But it just so happens that I actually knew somebody who had one back in the day. And I thought it would be fun to play with one, you know. I mean, the 1400i wasn't a great laptop, but, you know, it was a good laptop overall for what it was. But it wasn't, you know, IBM level quality. So the 1400i, yeah, I paid top dollar for it, and he led me to believe that it was essentially used for like a couple months and then put in the box, like a brand new machine. Like it was supposed to be a time capsule. Original box, original paperwork, software, all just like it was like a time capsule. And I'm like, well, those machines are hard to come by, and I'm willing to snap one up when found. And like, for example, when I bought that Tandy over there, I paid good money for that thing. And it was everything I expected it to be, but it was also a local transaction. So I paid the guy, he sends me the machine, I open it up. Okay, yeah, it definitely has the original box, original software, it's all there. Machine did work, but I quickly realized that it wasn't the little old lady drove it to church on Sundays kind of laptop. No, this thing was ridden hard and put away wet. It was, because I have a lot of experience not only servicing laptops, but buying and selling them as well, and both vintage and modern. So I know what I'm looking at when I see a machine that's been used extensively. And this thing had been used, it wasn't used and abused extensively, but it definitely had some problems, and it was definitely showing its, you know, its age. But further than that, the plastics were essentially destroyed. Fun fact, some of the lower quality laptops of the 90s were made out of an even cheaper version of ABS plastic that over time would turn to glass, and it would just shatter at even the slightest provocation. And just sitting around, as the plastic shrank, it would crack. It was terrible. And this machine had the worst case of stress cracks I've ever seen. Anything I touched, I took the keyboard off, and the screw standoffs would just snap off. This thing was just trash. And I told the guy, I said, look, this is not as advertised. I'm sorry. He offered to give me my money back, and he ended up giving me half my money back, and then I sold the laptop for a loss. It wasn't a great transaction, but anyhoozles. I want to show you something. As I'm blabbing on and on, I want to show you something that I found here. And this kind of drives nail in the coffin for the display. Let me show you what I'm seeing here. You see this dark band around the screen. That dark band, holy crap. Did you see? Yeah, this screen's bad. Interesting. Well, the machine has locked up. So this thing's got problems, man. It's got problems. And the gentleman who sent it to me, he knew, and he definitely told me something's going on with it. I don't know what. Maybe you can figure it out. Well, here's what I can tell you. Let's see if we can get it to screw up again. There it goes. That right there, that's not good. That little band that goes around. As far as I know, that signifies a little bit of internal delamination in the display. But why it's not showing up under dark colors? If I could get the... I'm not going to bother right now, but if I could get it to a white screen, I might see it a little bit better. But this is definitely... You can actually see it a little bit. If I turn this light off, you can see there's a dark corner there, but that's not really what I'm looking at here. You can see a little bit of it right here. There's a little bit of there's something going on. see if I can figure out how to... It's not doing it now. No, it's all better. But it looks like there might be a little bit of delamination internally in the screen edges. It's hard to see, but it's there. So, who wants to add this to their collection? You're not getting a power supply. I got to keep those. But does the keyboard backlight come on? It's got to be booted for that to work. See the cap. See, this is a bad sign. Caps lock key doesn't come on. I would have to run diagnostics on this to check the RAM for integrity, or just swap the module out. That could be part of it. He said that when you touch the key, the trackpad, it would freeze. If I try to boot it with extensions off, it's not. The OS isn't fully installed. That's part of the problem. Let's just try this. Let's see if it boots with extensions off. I guess my point is this, in telling you that previous story, look, if you're going to sell somebody something, or even if you're going to give it away, it's best to really disclose. Like, Old World Tech, he was brutally honest. He didn't hide anything. He's like, this is the deal, this is the problem. And I respect him for that, because if he had been trying to sell this stuff to me for real money, I would have been furious if he hadn't told me what he told me. But he was completely honest, and he gave me the stuff for the cost of shipping, which is an admirable thing to do, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass this along to somebody. All I really did was clean it up and verify that, yeah, it's a clunker, all right. So far, we definitely have a bad LCD panel. That's for sure. If you touch it just the right way, it wants to go. Secondly, we have what could potentially be the beginning signs of a failing logic board and or faulty memory. That could very well be too. But the display is a clear and separate issue. I'm not seeing those lines anymore. I don't know what that was about. I've never had that happen before. But I'm not seeing those weird lines and margins. There's a term for it. I can't think of what it is. But I'm not seeing that anymore. But I'm seeing dark corners, which, I don't know. That could be something. I'm not sure it's booting with extensions off, but it's definitely clunking and chunking for sure. So let's release the hounds there. So caps lock key comes on. Keyboard backlight should come up at this point, but maybe not. This thing is this was, the thing is, this was once somebody's pride and joy. These G4 17-inchers, these were not cheap. These were very, very expensive. In fact, is it genuinely a 17? Because I think it's not. This is actually a 15-inch. So, it's not a... See, alright, so my eyes were not deceiving me. This is a 15-inch. I thought it was. I'm like, that's not a 17. I have a 17. Let me show you what a 17-incher looks like. Park it side by each, as they say in Canada. I've got the 17. And this is an Intel 17. But it's a 17. And we're going to take a look, see what the dangy difference is in size. Now, this machine has had a battery replacement very recently. I have never done anything with this machine, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but here it is. This is a 17-inch MacBook Pro, and you're going to see what they look like side by each. That's out of the way. And see what I'm talking about? This is 17. Next to a 15. So, yeah. that's all right. It's an honest mistake. But it's important that you know if you're selling something that you know what you have. That's not intended for the gentleman I got this from. No, he's done me a favor, and I appreciate that. All right, let's put the tools away. I'm done with those. But I do want to charge my old 17-inch Big Mac. This laptop came to me from a coworker who bought it new, and it sat on a desk for the entire time she used it. Never took it anywhere, just sat there. It was not a traveling machine. And laptops that don't travel, they're the ones that make great collector's items because they don't have the typical wear marks and scratches and abuse. So it looks like our machine is safe booting now, and we'll find out in just a couple minutes if it's got something going on. But it seems to have frozen. It looks like it's stopping at loading IP firewall extension. It is locked up cold. Yeah, it has locked up dead. Look at this power supply. It's like brand new. Yeah, that's what did it in. So I'm wondering if the possible hardware failure happens to be in the LAN adapter, wireless or otherwise. So it froze up solid. It will not start. And that is where that machine and I part ways. And maybe you become its new owner? Think about it. I got all day. No, seriously guys, thanks for watching. This is the end of our video. I am going to charge up my little Core 2 Duo 17-inch just because. Oh crap, it's not charging. Is that new battery already bad? Well, I guess that's probably why it was so cheap. Before I end this video, you got to know that if you buy batteries off eBay or the internet, brand new or otherwise, don't count on them lasting very long because they won't. That battery isn't even charging. It's brand new. Brand new. The one that was in it from the factory, it exploded. The machine was sitting off the table by about a centimeter. It was that bad. Yeah, that was a sad sight. But the original battery basically exploded, and so I was able to put a new battery in it, bringing it back to normal. But yeah, that was fun. Okay, so somebody's going to get them a new laptop. It's going to need some repairs, or it's just parts. But nobody claims it. Hi ho, it's off to the recycler she goes. And I'm going to yank that 40 gig drive because it's a great thing to have. Oh, you know what? This battery is internally shorted already. That's what happened to it. Oh, yes. See, this is a good example of that. So I'm a little pissed off that this happened, but that brand new battery I put in it is internally shorted. So it's shutting the machine off while it's trying to boot up. Which is sad. I mean, really sad. Little bit of advice. If you're like me and you want to have laptops that you want to display and use, you're better off taking your batteries apart, pulling the cells out, and putting little plates of metal inside, turning them into what are called space savers or weight savers. These were popular On some laptops that people would travel with, they would take their optical drives out, and if there wasn't an option for putting another battery in that slot, you would put a weight saver. It's a hollow shell. And yeah, it's always an option. This battery is toast. Brand new battery too. Just bought it, like, I don't know, less than a year ago. Look at it. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna have to take this sucker apart and either replace the cells or delete them and turn it into a weight saver. But I want the ballast to be there, so now see, once I take the battery out, it's going to boot right up. Yeah. So this battery is probably old stock that they had lying around for years, and they sold it to me for 30 bucks. Yeah. I might be able to just put new cells in this pack. This is what they put in there for cells. They're a little undersized compared to what was originally in the pack. Well, in the real Apple pack. But we don't know if the problem is with the battery cells or the little board here. It's hard to say. I'm doing a little diagnostics. There's your little thermal thermistor. There's your safety cutout, if you will. And yeah, this is what you get when you buy from China. And whether these cells are good or bad is hard to say, but this is something you got to be concerned about, because these cells could blow up at any time and you wouldn't know it. Like, it would be these things can blow pretty badly. Well, anyway, in another video we'll talk about maybe replacing these cells or just deleting them altogether. Not sure what I'm going to do at this point. But if you were to just glue this pack together without the battery packs or without the cells at all, you would be able to at least fill the void under the machine, and maybe put a little metal plate or something in there to give it some ballast. But this thing's only been charged 2 or 3 times total. That's it. And it already failed. We pay for it, I guess. Till then, have a nice night.